when the warship BRP Rajah Sulayman crossed the breakwater and eased into Subic Bay, its long voyage was officially over. The engines powered down, the lines were thrown, and for anyone watching from the shore, the story seemed complete. A new ship had arrived. But for the Philippine Navy, arrival is never the end of the story. In fact, it's the beginning of the part that truly matters. Because here is a hard truth about navies: building or buying a warship is the easy part. The real test begins long after the cameras are gone, after the ceremonial welcomes have faded, and after the ship disappears behind guarded gates. What determines success isn't the delivery day, it's what follows. It's how that vessel is sustained, how it's integrated into the fleet, how it's actually deployed, and whether it becomes a living, breathing capability or just a symbolic asset sitting at the pier. Vessel tracking data now confirms that the Philippine Navy's newest offshore patrol vessel is operating within Subic Bay export waters. On paper, this is just routine. Ships arrive, logs are updated, schedules move forward. But in reality, this moment carries far more weight than it seems. Subic Bay isn't just another harbor, it's a proving ground. It's the place where ambition meets endurance, where theory is tested by harsh routine, and where a nation's intent is measured not in speeches, but in readiness. This is where ships destined for the front lines of the West Philippine Sea are hardened for reality. Every inspection conducted here, every system powered up for the first time on Philippine soil, every drill rehearsed quietly in the bay, it all answers a single looming question: can the Philippines sustain naval power on its own terms? In this story, BRP Rajah Sulayman isn't just a ship that has arrived, it is a test case. And what happens behind the fences of Subic over the next few months will shape how the Philippine Navy patrols, responds, and asserts control at sea for years to come. The real story isn't the arrival. The real story is what comes next. And what comes next may quietly redefine Philippine maritime power. Subic Bay occupies a unique and powerful position in Philippine naval operations. Geography alone gives it immense value, but its history gives it meaning. For decades, this deep-water harbor was a strategic hinge point, first for foreign fleets, and now, increasingly, for the nation's own. So, when a newly delivered vessel enters Subic after a long transit voyage, it signals something very specific inside naval planning circles. It means the ship is no longer just a project on a spreadsheet. It is transitioning into a tool. This is where the final, critical phase of activation begins. Fleet integration moves from paper planning documents into actual execution. Operational tasking shifts from abstract scenarios into real-world assignments. In simple terms, this is the moment a ship stops being new and starts becoming useful. BRP Rajah Sulayman's presence here signals clear intent. The Navy isn't just parking this vessel for show, it is actively moving it toward employment. Behind Subic's calm waters, three decisive processes will unfold quietly, methodically, and without any public spectacle. First comes systems and mission validation. This is the deep dive. Every major onboard system is scrutinized, not by the builder's standards, but by the Philippine Navy's own operational standards. The navigation suites are tested again and again. The communications systems are integrated into the national command networks. The sensors are evaluated not just for basic functionality, but for their reliability under the hot, humid, and demanding local conditions of Southeast Asia. Command and control interfaces are exercised until every response becomes instinctive for the crew. This phase is crucial because it determines whether the ship can operate confidently in contested waters. Under intense pressure and without needing external handholding, it's where small, hidden deficiencies are discovered earlier, become major mission-killing problems later. Second is the finalization of the crew. A modern warship hull is just a steel shell. It means nothing without a crew that knows it intimately, inside and out. Subic is where classroom theory meets muscle memory. Sailors will be drilled relentlessly through emergency scenarios, damage control exercises, and command readiness evaluations. Roles that were assigned on paper will be refined in practice. Weaknesses will be exposed and corrected. This is the process that transforms a collection of trained individuals into a single, cohesive, mission-ready unit. A crew that trusts its ship and trusts each other. And finally, there's the role assignment. Only after the systems are validated and the crew is certified does the Navy decide exactly how BRP Rajah Sulayman will be used. Will its primary mission be conducting persistent maritime patrols in the West Philippine Sea? Will it serve as an escort for higher value assets like the BRP Gregorio del Pilar or Jose Rizal class frigates? Or will it be tasked with sovereignty presence missions in the most sensitive, disputed waters? This decision will determine not just where the ship sails, but how often it is seen and, critically, by whom. BRP Rajah Sulayman is not designed to be the loudest or most powerful ship in the fleet. It isn't built to dominate headlines or signal dramatic escalation. It is designed for something much more subtle, but arguably more important in today's environment: endurance. For presence. For sheer, stubborn constancy. In the modern maritime world, especially in the complex chessboard of the West Philippine Sea, steady presence can matter just as much as firepower. A ship that is consistently on station, visible, and operationally credible shapes the behavior of other actors without ever firing a shot. It reassures allies and partners. It supports civilian law enforcement agencies like the Coast Guard. And it complicates the calculations of those who constantly test boundaries and challenge international law. This is precisely where offshore patrol vessels, or OPVs, earn their value. They are designed to stay at sea longer than more complex warships. They operate with a much lower political temperature, making them ideal for presence missions that don't require the threat of high-end missiles. And by taking on these long, grinding patrol duties, they free up the Navy. More advanced combatants, the frigates and corvettes, to be ready for high-stakes deterrence and crisis response. In short, OPVs like Rajah Sulayman strengthen control where it matters most, in the day-to-day, hour-by-hour management of a nation's own maritime space. So, where the BRP Rajah Sulayman sails next will reveal a great deal about Philippine naval priorities. Its first deployment will show how quickly the Navy can absorb new assets into its operational cycle. It will demonstrate whether the massive investment in modernization is translating into sustained presence on the water, not just an improved inventory list on paper. This ship's arrival in Subic may have appeared quiet and routine to the outside world, but strategically it speaks volumes. Because Subic Bay is not where this ship's story ends. It is where it truly begins. And as BRP Rajah Sulayman moves from arrival to activation, from a symbol of modernization to a tangible capability at sea, every step it takes will be watched by allies, by competitors, and by everyone who understands that true maritime power is not simply declared in a press release. It is maintained day in and day out on the waves. This is Bion Watchdog, and we will be watching what comes next. Thanks for joining us. If you found this analysis valuable, please like this video and subscribe for more in-depth reports.